What's up, everybody? It's EasyHQ with a controller settings. Yes, I said it.
What? Controller player! That is a controller player!
Before we begin, if you are a claw player, I am of no help because I don't play claw. I know I'm sure there's many other videos on settings for people who play claw, so if you do, I'm no help. Leave now. Let us begin. Easy HQ. Gameplay. Let's go to gameplay. I'm gonna just be brief. Interact prompt style, default. Button hints off. Crosshair damage feedback off. Yes, you could have the X crosshair, which helps with hip firing, but I like to see my enemies more. So I do have it on off. Damage numbers, stacking, ping opacity faded, obituaries on, minimap rotation off, weapon auto cycle on empty off, auto sprint. You're gonna want to put that on. Nice. That's funny. For auto sprint, you're gonna want to have that on, and I'll explain to you why once we get to the controller settings. But that's a must. Have that on. Double tap sprint off. Incoming damage feedback, leave it. Everything else, leave it. Hop up, pop up.
3 rounds. Now
Streamer mode off. Everything you leave normal. Everything you leave normal. The colorblind mode is preference. Colorblind mode is preference. I do like to have it on Trinopia because I like the yellow dye and it's more easier for me to see my shots, and I love it on the vault. It's nice and clean. And it's slightly more transparent with the yellow, so that helps to see your enemies more. But like I said, it's all that one is preference. So for controller, we're gonna go to button layout. So for the L3, you do want to put that on crouch. That's why you have. I'm guessing you had auto sprint on the left stick, but you want to replace that with crouch, and then the sprint will become circle, which you're not going to be using that for sprinting since you have auto run. You're going to be able to shoot and crouch. Now, a lot of people do have, I don't know if it's a lot, but I know some people play with the crouch with the R3, the right stick. I don't recommend that in my opinion, because if you're going to be aiming at somebody, you're going to interfere with your shooting, trying to crouch spam and still trying to aim. So you're doing two tasks with one stick, and it doesn't work. I do suggest this, if you do have it on the R3 or the right stick for Xbox, I guess, but if you do have it on R3, you want to change it to L3. Why? Because the whole point of these settings is not to be letting go of your aim. You should never let go of your right thumb. Yeah, so you want to be able to beam kids from far. Now also goes with head-on battles. You're aiming clearly. You're not using the right stick to crouch spam. You're using the left stick. Or if you do have pads, you could configure that to the left pad, or I don't know how you want to say that, but those are my settings for the controller. So let's go for sensitivity. So you're gonna want to do your stick layout default. I mean, if you're southpaw, everything I say, just reverse it. So instead of having the crouch to L3, you have it to R3. But if you're a righty, L3 is the way to go. Interact with reload button, I have tap to use reload. The crouch button, toggle, hold. I mean, a lot of people play with hold. I've seen it. I could tell by the way they spam crouch, but I like to play on toggle. Aim button, I have it on hold. Survival slot button, I don't know what that is. That's new.
Brother, this guy
We'll leave that the way it is. The L2 and R2 button dead zones, you're gonna want to have it on none. The faster you be able to the aim and shoot is you have the advantage on your enemies. Menu cruiser, I do suggest to play on like somewhere around the line to 75, because you're gonna want to learn how to loot quicker. It takes time to get used to, but keep bumping it up little by little. But other than that, you would just want to be into fights, loot quick, out to fights, especially for playing ranked. Look sensitivity, I have it on 6. Now this is where it's gonna get a little complicated, which I'm gonna give you probably two different types of settings. Look sensitivity 6. I mean, for other players, yes, I do recommend playing on 4 maybe, or even 5 at most, 5 at most. But I play on 6 because I used to play on 8, and I dropped it down because I want to have perfect hip fire shots. So I'm just used to the fast sensitivity. But like I said, you could play either on 5 4, 6 5, or 6 4. So 6 4 will be my go-to, but I specifically am playing on 6 5. So for my per optics settings, like I said, if you have it on, if you let's say you have it on 4, whatever, you could play 5 4 or 6 6 4, but I have mine's on 5. So whatever your 1 times per optic is, you're gonna want to do that for the 4 times, the 6 times, the 8 times, and the 10 times. The 2 times per optic, I have it on 4. I have it one lower because I like, for mid-range battles, I am trying to beam kids. You'll be able to control recoil more. If you want, you could put the 2 times and the 3 times at 3 instead of 4, because I do have these the same. And you're gonna want to just have in those, like, for 2 times and 3 times. A lot of people use it for mid-range, obviously, but perfect. For mid-range, you'll be able to just hit almost every shot, control your recoil. Um, these are my go-to settings. So whatever you have for your 1 times, you want to put it on your 4, 6, 8, and 10. Unless you're playing on 3, then I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Some people play on that. I'm not gonna lie, but I like to go to the 4 range and 5 range. Per optic, already explained that. Response curve, classic. Look dead zone, none. That's a must. Unless you have a bad strafe, then maybe large, but majority of newer controllers, you go to none. If you have a slightly older controller, small is fine. If you have some stick drift, but I like none. I like to react quick as possible. Movement dead zone, I have it on small. Invert look off. Vibration, you guys are gonna laugh at me for this, but I have it on.
What? Controller player! That is a controller player!
I suggest you guys to play it on off, but I don't care. Laugh all you want. I have mine's on. So for video, this is important. I was playing at the 110 field of view. Now I am gonna say this now. The 110 field of view, once you change your field of view, is gonna interfere with your sensitivity. So it does actually change your sensitivity. Yeah, so I like the 110 field of view, I really do, but I liked once I changed it to 90. I've asked a couple masters in actual Preds what their field of view is, and they told me, oh, some of them play on 90 and 90. Yeah, you can play a 100, but if you're looking to beam kids from mid range and just hit almost every shot, I like 90 because the enemies are bigger. Now, it might be preference. If you see a lot of streamers that play 110, is because they're doing it for show, but it's not necessary. The only thing is you might feel a little slower and clunky, but don't worry, you're moving the same speed. And my sprint shake, you're supposed to have this on minimal. So yeah, for these settings I gave you, it's gonna take probably 2 to 3 days to get used to, maybe a week, I don't know. But once you do get used to it, you're gonna feel a big difference in your gameplay, your aim, and you're just gonna be melting kids. If you enjoyed the video, smash a like. If you wish, subscribe if you wish. And if anything, if the settings did really help you over time, come back next week and comment and let me know if it helped you or not. But those are my settings. I hit masters with these settings, and it helps a lot. Alright, brothers. Easy out.